Okay, everyone, this is a recording of the Fairfield Bike and Pedestrian Committee's special meeting on Thursday, September 23rd, commencing at 6:05 p.m. So now I'm going to make mistakes. I'm just warning you because this is my first time running a meeting. This is Sarah Roy, I'm the chair. Do I just call the meeting to order?
Yes.
I'm calling the meeting to order. So thank you all for being here. On the call, for those who weren't here earlier, we have Bruce Pangley, Scott Craighead, Richard Saldano, Bill Hurley just arrived. In the room we have Judy Proctor, Laura O'Brien, Karen Sechrist, Nate Rex, and I just mentioned Bill Hurley, and myself, Sarah Roy. So I just wanted to say thank you all for electing me chair. Very excited to lead the team, and I wanted to put this up on there, but I had no idea how to do it. But I've talked to each of you individually and of the committee members, and really appreciate you giving me your feedback, things that you're interested in, your concerns, your ideas, your suggestions. And this is one of the things that I live by, and I want everybody to know how I feel. Is this is from the organization Revitalize or Die. I don't know if you've ever heard of them. Really cool group run out of Pittsburgh. But they say the point of volunteering for an organization is to achieve a sense of purpose and meaning. No one burns out from giving too much. They burn out from not achieving enough. And I feel those are very wise words. I want us to all work together to achieve, what we're passionate about. We're here because we care about certain aspects of pedestrian and cyclist safety and road safety, and I think we can work together to help each other achieve those goals. So thank you all for being here. Without further ado, we're going to move on to the Town of Fairfield update. Bill, I've given you about 10 minutes, and there's no need to talk about Pequot because Judy's here and she's going to do that. But if you want to update us, that would be great.
Sure. Just to let everyone know, if you haven't heard, the federal government with the American Rescue Act has given the town, or will give the town, of almost $25 million that have to be split up amongst all different groups and whatever. But there are at least some components of sidewalk and pedestrian safety. At the latest, which will now go before the RTM, is an additional $300,000 for the Southport Connectivity project, an additional $450,000 for the Stratfield Four Corners streetscape, and then they've earmarked approximately $500,000 out of the $3 million paving budget to mainly repair existing sidewalks that the town's been a little behind on in terms of the maintenance. So that's a pretty good news. There's green infrastructure. There's also a traffic lights component where, again, we'll be looking at, when Sarah mentioned roadway safety, but there's also a potential there, to get new controller cabinets, perhaps new pedestrian signals at all. We're going to be hiring a consultant to do a complete inventory of all our traffic signals, and then basically start. We have one that's about maybe 3/4 complete, traffic signal management plan, and then so from all that. Put it in a hopper, and hopefully it'll spit out.
That's for the whole, all of town?
Yeah, well,
all of town, or is it,
all the town, for the town signals.
Okay, so downtown areas?
No, these are the signals that the town owns and maintains.
Oh, okay.
Not state roads.
Oh,
Yeah,
gotcha,
state
right,
roads are
okay,
separate.
yep.
But I know it's taking a while, but you've seen some work at the North Benson and Route 1 and South Benson intersection. That one there, the pedestrian button's been haywire for quite some time, so that's good news there. Ruane Street is another one that they're finally, after some pressure from the town and the abutting property owner, to have the contractor repair the damage that was done when we were digging the conduit and all that. And it's understandable, but I think it was like 6 months went by when it really should have been within 30 days, if you know what I mean. So I believe they've addressed that, or I know they've begun to address it. I believe it's completed. And then, what else is there going? And then there's a new signal that is going to, again, take a couple of years, but at Collingwood and Route 59 and Capitol Avenue, that signal is going to be the next one earmarked for traffic signal and safety improvements. I believe that will include the countdown signal, you know, the 10, 9, 8, and hand and all that, crossing. I'll just throw this by the board there. I did not have a chance, Sarah and I were talking a little bit about it yesterday. I did not have a chance, though, to talk to the DOT. But they want the Legal Traffic Authority to sign a letter saying that they would waive a public informational meeting on the signal, being that it's an existing signal and these are all positive upgrades, you know, that they felt that a public informational meeting wasn't necessary. I told the chief I suggested, I don't tell the chief anything. I suggested to the chief that he hold off a little bit and at least have the town be on record that if we did waive the public hearing, that we would be abreast of each stage. There's usually preliminary, semifinal, and final. At each stage, we would see construction or design plans, and then eventually construction plans, where the town would have the opportunity to comment, and just as a way, you know, making sure that there's involvement, and they usually are pretty good that way. So that was that. What I also suggested is that maybe we put it on the town website, and then if there was an overwhelming, you know, group that wanted the public hearing, then, you know, we usually don't go against what the public wishes, and then we would then say to the state, you know what, we put it on our town website, and people responded saying they did want the public hearing, and then, I know, of course, the state, time, and money, but...
So I have a question about that. I'm wondering just now, is this something, would it be helpful to have the Stratfield Village Association sort of disseminate this information, since they're held in pretty high regard in Stratfield Village?
Yeah, I can reach out to Dylan on that.
Yeah.
We have at least weekly communication.
Yeah.
There's no time limit for them to sign, although they might have said you have, you know, 20 days or 30 days, but if we mention that we need at least 14 days to put it on the town website or something like that. We did that on one or two other projects, and there was little or no response.
Yeah.
If it was a new signal, then that's a whole completely different thing. And as I said, for the most part, these are improvements that would benefit, I think, both motorists and pedestrians. I think the town would definitely be in support. Of the project.
Yeah.
It's just that, you know, we want to make sure that, you know, the crosswalks are where we deem, you know, again, it's a state road, but it still affects certainly the Collingwood neighborhood, the Collingwood Drive street there, so that's where we stand on that. And then just to give you some updates on the...
Sorry, I just have one question.
Sure.
I was just thinking of this. So they won't really look at any roads, any lights on Post Road?
No, they have again, they have
That's
their
where
own...
I'm like, that's where it's so bad.
They have their own signal management plan, and they periodically, you know, go through. If I recall, the one at like Reef Road, I think was, matter of fact, I talked to the installer a couple of days ago, around 2003 and 4. So if the quote signal life is 20 to 25 years, say, that might not be for another 5 years before they get to that.
Well, it's this section in here that's just, you know.
Yeah.
They won't even fix ones that aren't working properly?
Well, they should at least do repairs, you know, and
there's one that I've been complaining about for years, where the pedestrian walk, you press the button and you can't.
Let me know which one, do you know which one it is? I'll put it in again.
Didn't we used to say, press that button,
It's
just
the
as
one-
it humored you, it made you feel good to push it?
Yeah, that's the whole thing. There's an article about that I can send you.
Yeah.
It's the one that's in front of, the Charles Schwab building.
Charles Schwab, okay.
Oh, yeah, I know what
By the
you're,
old
that's one of the ones I'm talking about. It's right by the brick,
yeah.
but it's just before the other one,
I think it works one way and not the other. I mean, you know,
All right.
it's been working wrong for years.
which is probably why you have so many people who are running across the road right there, because
That's
that's where
right.
they're running across
Because
the
they
road.
don't know when it's,
Yep.
Yeah.
you hit it,
Yeah.
and the cars stop, but you're not sure if they're really stopped.
Bill, I think that's the intersection we've talked about how many different times, like how
Yeah,
bad
yeah,
that
yeah.
is.
Well, there
That
was
intersection,
one
but-
that we petitioned the state on, to improve or give the pedestrians a couple more seconds or do something with it. And their solution was to take out the one at the post, the old post
Oh, my God.
office. So, this was a couple of, years
Yeah.
ago, as I said, they
terrible.
have a relatively new commissioner and the state, after so many years of, not taking into consideration, pedestrians, they're making their progress, if you will.
Okay, yeah.
If I can make one more comment
Sure,
on
sure.
that one spot, and I don't know whose responsibility it would be, but as you're walking toward Charles Schwab and the crosswalk ends, you run right into something like a UPS box. So,
And a tree, I think there's
and a
that sort of a
tree,
tree
if
right
you're
there too.
handicapped, good luck.
Yeah.
I ran into somebody who was handicapped. I said, what do you do? And he's very upset. You gotta keep going along the road until you
Is
can
that
finish.
intersection at the library?
No.
No, it's this
Oh,
side of it,
South,
it's,
yeah,
you know where Finn is and.
Yeah,
it's there.
okay.
I don't know, if it's 16 handles.
Right, it's on the other
Yeah,
side.
Yeah.
Well, no, 16
And people run
handles is
across,
further
they
down,
run across.
but-
But that's where,
Yeah.
that's where
That
to go.
group, yeah. Okay.
Across the 4-lane road, and don't even get me started about that,
Yep.
but.
Charles Schwab, I don't know if there's even a the one that, with the 16 handles is the one with the brick walk driveway.
Right,
The other one, I think, is just a pedestrian one, although the little side street comes
exactly,
out.
yes.
Lantern Hill or something like that.
So anyway,
Yeah, okay, but yeah, I'll bring that up again, because I know we brought it up, and, I'll
non-functioning.
check on it again. Yep.
Bill, I do have a couple of questions, which I could save if there's any other updates, but I had a couple of questions I wanted to circle back.
Sure, okay, the other update, as I said, the Four Corners, the Southport connectivity, they're around the 70 to 90% design phase, so they're coming along pretty good. The next one on our list is, that's in like maybe 20% design right now, is Grassmere and Post, by like Shoreham Village Drive to Grassmere, and then you go up
That's
Grassmere.
the one I was in the,
Yeah, I will pass
Study
this
with.
one around. I don't know what happened to the south one. There, originally, we had looked at, maybe south side parking, but so far, almost everybody I've talked to prefers the north side parking. And, that way, if restaurants start, becoming really popular again, parking on the north side with a lot of those strip malls, if they don't have enough parking, they'd be able to get out and walk. We're looking at an RRFB or hawk signal for Shoreham Village Drive intersection there. That was unfortunately where a pedestrian was hit and killed, I want to say maybe 4 years ago. So we're looking for that improvement. And the next stage was trying to tie this into the Post Road Circle study. And so I'll just pass this around. This just shows the north side. I think that's the preferred side. The only reservation I had with the north side, because originally, as I said, at one point they were looking at the south side parking, is the south side park, if you give them the parking, we'd have bulb outs on the south side, and then I know for sure that all the handicap ramps would meet the right of way, and we wouldn't have to take any property, because that really slows down the project. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to confirm with the designer that that is still the case, even if we go with the north side. And if they say, yes, we can put it in without getting any property, then I'm pretty sure we're going to go with the north side. And then the last one would be Mark Barnhart, just to talk to a couple of the businesses on the south side. The key component on this was we were going to go to a road diet. That was something that the town,
yes.
the police commission, and the bike and ped committee were hoping for. And also instituting, I think, the bike lanes which was really surprising, because it's a really tight fit.
Separate bike
That's why
lane?
we'd only be able to do one side.
Not protected, but it's a separate bike lane.
Separate bike lanes?
Both sides.
5-foot bike shoulder, as part of that, which.
It's a shoulder.
Yeah, but
On the-
but it's a huge improvement, because we could not do that with the median with Kings Highway. The state was totally against removing the median.
Right.
So on that one,
I know, I
unfortunately, we
thought
had
it,
to choose.
but I got nowhere.
We had to choose between pedestrians and bicyclists on that one. This one here might be one where we have a win-win-win.
Yeah.
Win for traffic calming, win for cyclists, and win for pedestrians. And then even indirectly, could be a win for motorists, because with the road diet, a lot of times what you just find is that people use the passing lane to pass perhaps one car, and then they have to weave back over, particularly as they enter the circle or as they get down further. It goes into like one lane, and so did you really gain anything? They think they might have, but overall, it might be a difference of 30 seconds,
Question on the bike lane, is it in this?
It is,
Yeah.
Yeah, can you see it?
Is it on both?
it's on the white, you can see where the
Is it
white
on-
marking
It's on both sides?
Yes.
Yeah.
So on the north side, they would have to deal with car doors.
That would be correct. That would be, I believe they might have a 1 or a 2 foot extra area, so that if a car door were to open,
Yeah, but
we
you gotta
give them-
be looking for.
if they open it up full-fledged, I can't.
Well, there's a new law taking effect next Friday. Did you know about that? There's a dooring law.
And what does it say?
So it says it is against the law to open, your car door in the path of a cyclist. You have to, you have to look. They're recommending you use the Dutch open, where you
Yes, you use this hand.
You use this hand, so you're
Setting
forced
your
to turn
left
around. You can't, for an unreasonable amount of time, block a bike lane or route or whatever with your car door. And if somebody gets doored and they crash into it, you're in big trouble. It's PA 21-28.
Wow.
So that takes
It's
effect
a good
next Friday.
idea, I just don't expect many people to pay attention to it.
Well, the state is
All
doing
you
a
can do is,
whole,
like everything,
all you can do.
the first time we put in a bike route even here, and like I said, sometimes it's baby steps, but when you look back after 5 years, like, oh, wow, so
That's
sometimes.
No,
I
I'm
think
for
it's
it.
support
Perfect is the enemy of good.
absolutely,
That's
progress,
right.
the little baby steps.
So, anyway, I just wanted to share that, and then, we're still trying for, our Kings Highway pedestrian, improvements, step 3. I've been going back and forth with the state. They do not want to reduce, they want to stick to 11-foot travel lanes. One of the proposals we had was 10 and a half, and they wouldn't do it. And so, now I gotta go back and I gotta do special cross-sections.
What's their reasoning for not wanting to go down to 10.5?
Consistency with the rest of Route 1 is what I was told. We've been going back and forth for months on this. The other one was the RRFB, which, they claim that when we put in the requests for the ones for the 2 churches, that they're too close together, and so I'm gonna try to do some research on that. I have to admit, it's a little bit hard, so if anybody wants to do some research on the distance between RRFBs, rectangular.
Remind me what that
reflective-
stands for?
I sometimes get the first 2 R's mixed up, but I believe it's rectangular rapid flashing beacon, RRFB. And, they're all individual. So, you hit the button, and then it will start to wig-wag, with high intensity lights. They're not that big, but they're very bright and in high intensity. But they only go for a short amount of time for the pedestrian to cross, and then that's it. So then they're not constantly blinking. They shouldn't be waking anybody up at 2 in the morning because, unless somebody's crossing,
Right.
they won't be pushed, they won't be on. So there's definitely some benefit to that. And as a driver or a motorist, you go by an intersection, nothing's happening. Go by the intersection the next day, nothing's happening. Go by, and all of a sudden you see lights, that heightens awareness. If you see lights every single day, it kind of becomes the norm. So these are definitely a proven safety measure. It's just that what they didn't want is if they're spaced too close together, that they may cause some problems or confusion, or you're asking motorists to stop, then go, and then stop again, or something like that. we wouldn't eliminate, as far as I know, we wouldn't eliminate the crosswalk, but right now, we're working hard to convince them at least to give us one. I could tell you from an email where they had 0 on the Old Post Road. So I think I've convinced them for one. I'm trying to do a little bit more research. It's just I've been bombarded with flooding complaints, as you can imagine.
Oh, God. And you may have more after today.
Believe me, I'm looking at every weather radar for the last several months, and it's nerve-wracking.
Well, Bill, thank you.
Sure.
We gotta keep it going, but
Can I ask one other quick question?
Yeah, and I have a question after you, yeah.
Because it pertains to something we talk about
Yep.
later. Have they scheduled the next Post Road Circle Study public
meeting,
meeting? Or even team meeting?
yeah, they were gonna go to the.
It's gonna be in September, but.
They were gonna, yeah, I think it got pushed a little bit, but they're gonna go with the TAC, the Technical Advisory Committee, which I believe you're a member of, and some others before they go public. They just wanted to do that. I wanna say off the top of my head, it's somewhere in the middle of October.
Okay.
They actually were, on this parking thing, they didn't wanna release it until we know. So, I mean, this way, again, I don't wanna put anybody's words in anybody's mouth, but to me, I think almost everybody, it makes sense to do the north side where there's overflow from the strip mall.
I agree.
Having it along some homes whose for the most part, driveways are on Shoreham Village. There are a couple of homes in the front, but to have that kind of parking spot and take that up and maybe not have a bike, because if we have parking on both sides of the road, then the bike lanes are completely out.
That's right.
And so, I think, luckily in this case, the homes are far enough away. I know we've had discussions on that where, they're far enough away, they have long enough driveways, so hopefully that wouldn't be an issue or a problem. We'll have a public informational meeting on that as well, but at least it appears that there's overwhelming support, I think, for the north side, right, on here and with other groups, so.
Okay.
The last group is Mark Barnhart talking to a couple of the business owners, so that's good on that. I'm just trying to think of anything else that's popped up. Then it's Jackman Avenue, by the park there, Lincoln Park. The DPW has constructed one section, and I think they're almost done with the second section. Unfortunately, like everything else, there's just gaps. I met with UI 6-8 weeks ago, but that wasn't enough time to have them call out and move the guy wire. I sent them an email again saying, hey, we're actually doing the sidewalk now. Maybe by some miracle they'll be able to do it next week. I don't know. But,
That looks great.
It does. So it's possible they might not be able to move that guide wire?
They will eventually.
Okay, so that will be
Just in terms of the
completed.
grant, so that one block, it just stinks that you have one.
Bill's just trying to get it completed next week.
Yeah.
Finish it by
Maybe we'll get it
March.
completed at some point.
The health department, and that was good news that Santina wanted to pay. I think she talked to you or emailed you, or one, I can't remember.
Yeah.
But, next year's grant, she's pretty sure we can, instead of, getting like 8,000 or 9,000 like we've had in the past, she thinks we can get 15,000. So that's
sidewalk?
well, that's really kind of our and the health department's choice, whether we go with sidewalk.
We've done the bike routes as well, like painting the.
We could maybe do a combination if it's two small sections or something like that.
We decided at a previous meeting that, when we thought it was 9,000, that it would go towards a sidewalk in front of Birdcraft.
Birdcraft, yep. That was
But now that there's extra money, there's potential for a second project as well.
So,
Great.
we'll, as I said, if that's what the committee, wants to prioritize, then so be it. If there's another section that comes up, we can look at that or whatever, and, go from there. All right, I don't want to take up any more.
One more question. So you said, Southport Connectivity Project's getting 300,000. Does that close the gap to allow that project to move forward? Because I know there's other money from that pool at the state that we can't use until we finish that project.
That was the connectivity, we have 360, and so by adding 300 more, that should make a significant, improvement and do all the things that we want.
So that will allow the project to...
Yeah, that would allow the...
Okay,
yeah.
cool, because then we can go after more money, because I I listened to, the Vision Zero Council,
Mm-hmm.
meeting back in August where they said that that fund is flush, it's pretty secure. So but we can't go back until we finish that
Right.
project. But there's opportunities in the future, once that project's done, for us to ask for more money
Right.
for new connectivity, so.
We're hoping to
Great.
get it done, or
Get it
at
going.
least get it out, because I think if you at least get it out to contract,
Yeah,
then that would be eligible, so
okay,
if, even though it might not get constructed, let's just say we put it out to bid in December even, now we gotta wait till spring,
yeah,
but at least then we can maybe start thinking of ideas or
Yeah.
applying, because as you know,
yeah,
government, when it comes to these grants, they're slow.
that's great.
No doubt about it, so.
Well, thanks,
All right,
Bill.
sure, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Bill.
So Santina, sent Karen and I an email, she was not able to come tonight. Everyone, this is Anya Muzak.
Hi, Anya.
She's interested in possibly joining the committee,
Oh,
and
okay.
we'll talk about that further in the agenda, she's considering. So I just wanted to, welcome you officially, and we'll, at that point in the meeting, we'll introduce her. But Santina's the public health representative who comes to our meetings, and she couldn't attend, but she wanted to talk about some stuff that she and Karen have been working pretty closely with. Karen, would you like to talk about it? I have her
Sure,
email.
I do too,
Okay.
because actually, yeah, I was pulling up Mary Hoag's as well, so I just, that,
Oh, did Mary Hope
She
send something too?
no, she sent it to me.
Okay.
Because I spoke to her about it,
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
because she couldn't come.
Okay.
Let me just find. I think she responded. Sorry.
Okay, while you find out, Karen's gonna be talking about something we're doing in partnership with the health department, and it's not this exact thing, but it's similar. I don't know what shape it is, but that's a reflector tag, if you wanna pass it around, just to get a real life sense of what we're doing.
All right, so, first she went over just the monies, right?
Yes.
They had a total of $10,299 for sidewalk improvements and $1,461 for printing and advertisement. She hasn't received any invoices, because you know she would say this to you, Bill.
Yes, I talked to her today.
So I'm doing it for her.
I talked to her today, yeah.
So for the $1,461, it was $29 to a Facebook ad on July 2nd, $20 on a Facebook ad on August 21st, $27 on a ad on September 2nd, $20 on one on 9/11, $30 on a ad on 9/18, and then she spent $595 on walking wristbands, and $706 on bike reflectors, which she thought was a good way to kind of use things that they could give out at certain events. And I actually, although I didn't have a chance tonight to finish it, I have an email back to her about the Great Green Wheel Expo that's going on next weekend, and I thought that would be a great opportunity if she has them printed for them to use them there. And I'll update you guys more on that when I get to Mary Hoag's update. But she would, I think Santina just wanted to make sure the money was used as quickly as possible, and she's going to get back to us as what kind of reception the Facebook ads got. She wanted to see how many people actually, liked them and responded to them, so.
Okay, great. Thank you. And you mentioned the signage?
No, actually, I didn't finish, I probably didn't go underneath it.
Oh, okay.
What'd she say about the signage? I can't,
Sure, so she said,
I'm trying to remember. Oh, if there was more money left over, right? So you can keep it on here.
yeah.
As far as the money for the sidewalk, any extra funds will be used to purchase Share the Road and other applicable signs. That I think just depends, I guess, once Bill's finished on how much is left. Because I didn't realize when you were doing the sidewalk bill that it was going to be both those sections, the second side of the road too. So it's not just in front of the park, but there's a small section right in front of the firehouse as well.
There was a missing gap. The whole Jackman Avenue had it, but that's.
Hello?
It sounds like we lost it.
Yeah, I lost you too. This is Richard on the line.
Does anybody have Sarah's
Yeah, I do.
telephone number?
I do.
So text her.
I'm going to text her now.
Is that Bruce?
Uh,
This is Scott.
Yeah, it's Bruce.
Yeah, okay.
Hey,
Yep,
Scott.
thank you.
Do text. Okay. Hopefully she's checking her phone.
He probably accidentally like unplugged it or something. Who knows?
Accidentally bumped it and clicked it off.
And knocked it
Yeah,
off
exactly.
the table or... Brings back joyous memories of being on conference calls and calling into live meetings.
Yep.
Oh, they're gonna will recall. Okay, so they'll reestablish hosts.
I only push.
Oh, there we go.
Hi, are you back?
We're back.
Yep.
Thank you so much.
we
We
lost-
were so busy talking, we didn't notice it. I think we lost the Wi-Fi connection for a couple minutes.
Looks like I don't
So
have it anymore.
we went dark at the time. I think Karen was talking about the signage. If more money will be used.
Oh,
if
okay,
more money
good.
is
So you
available,
didn't miss-
to
yeah,
be
you
used
didn't miss
on
anything.
Only
the
missed a
share the
minute.
road signs.
Yeah, okay. Great. Okay. And it says we're recording, right? So,
Oh, Dot.
let me
Hopefully it's still.
let me just make sure. Hold on a second. Let me just make sure.
If it's already recording, maybe you can't sort of redo it.
It's supposed to tell you.
Oh.
But they can hear you, or is that,
Well, it has to be recording, that's the thing. Let me try again. Start recording by dialing.
Approximate price paint shop per mile, do you have any idea?
Huh.
I wanna say off the top of my head.
Is everyone still there? Bruce, Richard, Scott?
Yep.
Mike?
Mike,
Yeah.
here?
Yep.
Scott is here.
Okay. It's not telling me it's not recording when I press the recording instructions, so it said we were recording when it came back on live, so
Okay.
we're gonna hope it's recording.
Okay. Just take good
All right.
notes here.
Okay.
Thinking about that,
At least heightened
Yeah.
awareness.
Okay, so do we want to move on to the Sustainable Task Force?
Sure, I'll go.
Agree?
I had her send me notes because she couldn't be here. Now I gotta find her email. I had that one all prepared. Okay, here she is. Okay, notes for it. Sustainable Task Force is holding the 7th Annual Green Wheels Expo on Saturday, 10/2, from 10 to 2 at Bob's Plaza. To kick off the event, they'll be holding an EV rally, partnered with the EV Club of Connecticut, starting at the Westport train station at 10 a.m., kicked off by Westport First Selectman Jim Marp and State Rep Jonathan Steinberg, who will be in the parade in his own EV, traveling the Post Road to Fairfield. Westport police are also in the parade with their Tesla and 2 Chevy Bolts, and Fairfield police will meet them at the border and escort them to the Bob's Plaza and will be directing traffic all day. COVID protocols of masks required, and attendees standing 6 feet apart are asked to be observed. All vehicles will be locked, and there will be no ride and drives provided this year. As always, the event is held during National Drive Electric Week and is usual to be the largest in New England and one of the largest in the nation. And as always, it is a celebration of all alternative forms of transportation to the traditional internal combustion engine, affectionately referred to as ICE engines. Connecticut Rides will be providing information on telecommuting and other ways to not travel. Greater Bridgeport Transit will be providing a Proterra electric bus for display, and we hope that the Bike Ped Committee will help to promote Come Enjoy, and if you have any information other than the bike route hangers and Complete Streets fact sheets we have from prior years, we're happy to put those out. If any of your committee would like to man a table for a while, you're welcome, but it's unnecessary. So that's where I thought Santina's things might be great for her to have. And I will forward this as well to you.
I have all those things, too.
Well, I mean what Santina is doing, but yes, it's with the hangers, but yes, we'll get her some of those as well. So I'll send this around to Sarah so she can send it out to everyone, just the flyer that they're using. And let me see what this other...
Could you repeat the date for this?
Yes, it's next Saturday, 10-2.
Okay.
10-2.
Yes, 10-2 from 10 to 2.
That's in 2 days.
No, 10-2 is next week.
Next week.
Yeah, yep. Yeah, so as I said, I'll send this over to Sarah so she can send it out to the whole committee.
Sure.
You want the table runner that I have?
I don't think so. I think they have their own table stuff, but it would just be the thing. I'll coordinate with Mary to get those to
Because
her.
I want to get this stuff out of my basement to somebody who's going to be on the committee long term.
Right.
So,
Well, you just give them to me and I'll take care of them then. We'll do it that way. Because I can come get them from you easily.
yeah.
Did you have a question?
Kids sit there?
I am gonna, as I said, I'll send this out and then you'll be able to find more information out, because I also thought it'd be something we might want to post, and I'll send it to Santina as well.
Yeah, we can. For sure.
This just this doesn't show anything kid-related, but I can find out for you.
That'd be fun to take our bikes there, but then
Yeah.
what do the kids do when we get there?
Right. Yeah, and Santina kind of implied to me she thought that the police might be doing a bike rodeo again, but I haven't gotten any word on that.
It would be a different day.
Yeah, it would, but speaking of bringing the kids to it, it's a great event that the police department has done, and they've gotten Yale New Haven donates helmets that we give out to anyone who comes.
So we do helmet fitting?
Do helmet fitting, and then they do like a little cycle, course around, and we've usually done it at Jennings Beach. So, and it doesn't get a huge amount of attendance, but it is great, for them to have it.
Sure.
Great.
So.
Thanks, Karen. Right, we're going to move right along to Judy. I think everyone knows Judy, except might not know Anya. Judy Proctor. Anya Proctor. Judy's going to give us an update about the Pequot Avenue project.
Yes. So we've been working with Bill for a good 6 months on traffic calming on Pequot Avenue from Westway down to the Westport line past Southport Beach, where there's lots and lots of people walking and biking, and which is wonderful that they're enjoying the outside, enjoying Southport, but also this is the main thoroughfare. So we've been chatting with neighbors. All the neighbors on Pequot Avenue are really supportive of any kind of safety features we can provide. So solar speed signs are one, and we're going to have 2 of those, hopefully, one westbound and one eastbound. Fog lines, Bill, and so what we really need to do now is really clarify our petition, to be very specific.
Okay, yep.
So the fog lines, you said it would be a 9.5 lane, and then we could have a fog line. And then the fog line to whatever the shoulder is would first, define where the cars are going to drive, and then second, give cyclists and pedestrians and runners sort of hopefully some space. Sometimes it might be 3 feet, sometimes 1 foot, but some space to know that that's their space. Sidewalks, we feel, are, with Bill's oversight, they're really sort of out of the question at the moment.
Yeah, they're not overwhelming support.
No, well, some people are actually willing to move their hedges.
Oh, wow.
So that was great, but I think this is going to be a longer haul, because people, folks have put up stone walls and fences, and so there's not a lot of easement there to begin with. The road is actually relatively narrow.
Yeah.
So that, of course, would be the best solution, but
Yeah.
it's
Just to let people know, a typical or a new subdivision road has about a 50-foot right-of-way. So even if you do a 30-foot pavement, you still have 10 feet on either side. If you do a 24-foot pavement, then you have 26 feet, so 13 feet on either side. Some of the older roads in Southport, only like Center Street, for instance, is one of them. They have a 30-foot right-of-way. So if you have a 26-foot wide road, that gives you 10 feet on either side. And unfortunately, Pequot, it was an old state road that went, I guess, to Westport and then Norwalk. It varies. There's some spots, and even the roadway, there's some spots where the road is 24, 26 feet wide, and other spots it's only like 18, 19 feet. And then that goes with the right-of-way, too. There's one or two spots where we have maybe 5 or 6 feet where you could get a sidewalk, although it'd be right up against the road, but that's still a lot better than nothing. And then there's other spots we only have 3 feet, and you have a hydrant and a telephone pole or utility pole in that 3 feet. So we would have to literally take property. And I
thought that a certain amount of feet close to the road technically belongs to the town.
Well, that's what I'm saying. This is the right-of-way. That's what I'm talking about. It varies. And the newer subdivisions and things like that, we have a good 10 feet usually from the edge of the road to the where the people's private property starts.
I see.
But in Southport, there's some spots that might be 6 or 7, but then other spots we only have 3 feet.
And people have to like volunteer their property.
Right. Yeah. Believe it or not, we've had 1 or 2 that have, but that's always been where we lucked out, where the right-of-way was wide, and then maybe there was one little pinch point that affected 1 or 2 people, and we actually got them to sign up on that.
Even if the lots there are so big, it doesn't seem that crazy.
I know.
But can I just ask a
Sure.
question about sidewalks? This is totally new to me. So when we do want to introduce sidewalks to a certain area, like, do we have to have, like, I guess, like, a certain amount of, like, yards where we can form that sidewalk? Or can we do, like, 1 or 2 properties at a time, like you point, like, some have stone walls, and you do it
A
over
good
time?
example is the one where Sarah was definitely one of the leads on, where
Yeah.
I would say like a block or a good section. We could probably do a block at a time,
Uh-huh.
but I don't know about doing 2 or 3 houses, because then they're kind of like sidewalks to nowhere. There was one spot that we did do that because it's more like a snow shelf, and unfortunately, it's one of those areas, it's actually on Valley Road, where there was that S-curve, and there was actually nowhere for pedestrians to walk. So we actually cleared out a sidewalk, and sure enough, every, 3 times a winter, we have to write a letter, make sure you maintain it, because they live up on Oak Bluff, and to them, that's like another world, Valley Road.
Oh, I walk there,
I
that
do
road is
too.
responsible?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah,
It's better than what it used to be.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you have to have,
That's one of the few, but even there, you can almost, it's almost a stretch, but you can almost say from Oak Bluff to a random road. So it was, again, a block rather than, so, and again, with Pequot, that section, there's only a few streets even.
Yeah, I know in Strathfield, there's some blocks where, like, some house will have sidewalks, some doesn't, and I look like we wasn't sure how it even happened.
Yeah, well, believe it or not, there's been people that, and actually we found one sidewalk, for whatever reason, it hasn't been used much or whatever, and it's asphalt. The concrete ones you don't normally get as much, but the asphalt ones, where literally grass has grown over, and the state or the town way back when put so much sand on, that it actually covered the walk, and now it's buried. But we have a Q alert on one where we're actually asking the town to plow the sidewalk, and I bet you the sidewalk will look as brand as new because it's been protected,
Well, thank you. We've got to keep.
I just have.
No, it's okay. I know you're new to this.
I'm sorry,
Yeah.
I just wanted to show you
So Judy, what else?
So then, also on the petition are the 3 new signs that indicate that there are bicyclists and pedestrians there.
That's the share the road one. I believe.
Yeah, or, I don't know, you all should debate the efficacy of the share the road signs, which actually other states have. Delaware and I think Oregon have said that people just don't understand the share the roads. And in fact, they think that in a car, the bicyclist is supposed to share the road with me.
Mm-hmm.
So, and sharrows need a lot of education, as we know, but yes, it would be wonderful to have more. So we stated that you're gonna replace the existing sharrows, which were 3, and it'd be wonderful, you know, to add more. And then one of the homeowners who lives right near the beach says she really worries about not only walkers, but folks that are parked on the north side of the street, away from the beach. There's no crosswalk there. So she would like to see a crosswalk, so, you know, folks going towards Westport, westbound, there'll be some definition for them to cross the street there.
Towards
The question
where
would
the
be-
bridge is, or on the?
Towards the beach, everybody.
Yeah, but I mean, like, where on that stretch of the beach?
Where on that stretch of land, probably before the actual parking begins.
Okay, yeah.
So, there are parking spaces on the north side of the street. And, so the crosswalk would take place, you know, after that. And folks could then cross over to the beach.
That's if they walked all the way down and then crossed.
I think that when people see crosswalks, they do think, oh, I should cross there. Not everyone, but I mean, I do think crosswalks help promote that.
Well, it's a good visual cue for motorists that there may be pedestrians in the
That's,
area.
that's the biggest thing.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But they're carrying, chairs and things like, and umbrellas, and they're not gonna wanna walk the extra distance. That's what I'm afraid of.
Well,
I don't know, I see
maybe
it
we
as
should go,
We
you could go
would,
out
yeah,
there
we would look into
and
that.
look into it.
It's hard to know where to put it. for
Because
that.
truly, most pedestrians have already crossed by that little sea lodge there, because there's a huge shoulder. So they feel comfortable
Right,
walking
yeah, we
along
were
the
able to
beach
keep
there.
that, yeah.
Yeah.
We put that as no parking, yep.
Yeah, but on the other side, she said she's often worried about people getting out of their car and going over. So, but be that as may, the crosswalk, I think would be key to have in that section for all the reasons we've, you know, just talked about. So do we need in the petition to be clear, like where it goes?
Well, again, if you're talking about a petition to the police commission.
Yes, so we're gonna get our signatures, and we want to be as clear as possible.
Well, if you're clear as possible, then they'll vote yes, no, on whatever you're proposing.
Right.
Another way would be, it delays it a little bit, but, my feeling is sometimes, it's okay to do it that way. And that would be, is to propose that we would like a crosswalk, preferably here,
Right.
but are open to other, and in that way, if they're, we're not doing a crosswalk there, you're done.
Right.
And well, now it might give them a little bit more, all right, if you're not putting it here, would you put it here?
Right.
You know, it
Now-
gives a
now-
little bit more, yeah, but
Okay.
it might take a little bit longer, because then they may say, oh, well, we might need to study
I'm gonna ask
further.
if you guys wouldn't mind having this,
Yeah.
The
as
sidebar?
a side
Yeah.
conversation.
Yep.
Okay.
But, Judy, did you have more?
Just
Yep.
the other thing that everybody is so enthusiastic about is decreasing the speed, which towns can now, with the new law, are now able to do that. So-
Not quite yet, but
Not
we,
quite
yeah,
yet?
but
Okay.
it is, it would have to be, well, there's the potential for the town
Right.
to do that, that's
Okay.
correct, yeah, for the first time. And now, on that one there, and that's where this group, if they feel strongly, they can petition the police commission and then see if that's something
Okay.
willing.
So the town is gonna sign on.
Oh, I don't know, that's what I mean,
Okay.
you'd have, because that may be
Who
a
makes- So the police commission?
Ultimately, the police commission will need to do that, but it also has to be approved by the RTM, the town's legislative body.
Oh, we gotta
So
wait. Okay.
there's a whole
I'm
mess
not
of...
putting
We're not
anything
there.
about that in this petition.
No, I would not.
That's the next one.
Yeah.
And we should,
The next one.
maybe at the October
Yep.
meeting, we can have a conversation about that and how we wanna be involved with that.
Okay.
Judy, is there,
Thank you.
is there anything, you need from us, the committee, in terms of support at this moment?
No.
No? Okay,
Just-
you'll let us know?
just, you know, in terms of that signage,
Mhm.
I don't know if you thought that we should have consistent signage all over town, about share the road. I mean, the one we've talked about has a bicyclist and a
Yes.
pedestrian. And, so anyway.
Right.
Okay.
The bike, the one with the bike and the pedestrian, this group even at least made a recommendation a long time ago of, because we did the original one in the MUTC CD that just said share the road. And then either somebody came out with a test one or they've stretched the limit, but it's almost been pretty much accepted where if it does say share the road, or we'll at least just say a bike and pedestrian ahead or something like that, or with an arrow.
Right.
And that one at least, because again, share the road was an experiment that didn't work very well.
Okay. Okay.
All right, thank you.
Okay.
Yep.
All right, we're a couple minutes behind. We'll try to catch up because I think at least the first thing won't take very long. But we're going to go into committee updates and new business. Report on financials, Laura.
There's no change, there's still $615.45 in our account now.
I think I still got some work to do, and then I have to go
All right.
home. I just want to make sure anything else, or otherwise, I'm available by email or phone, and we'll progress with some of that. And
thanks a lot, Billy.
if you have something in mind or whatever, and you want me to look it over, by all means, I'll do that. I'll kind of mark it up. My suggestions, it's going to be your petition.
Yeah, right.
But I'll try to give you some advice in dealing with the police commission and seeing if it has a good chance.
Okay.
I think it does.
Good.
All right.
Thanks, Bill. Have a good night.
Yep.
Okay, so $615.45 in our account, no change. Thank you, Laura. We'll move on to the World Day of Remembrance that we've scheduled for November 21st. And, Karen, I meant to put you on here too because you and I had that meeting about it.
Oh, okay.
But Judy and I can talk about this. So I think we've talked many times about it. It's going to be Sunday, November 21st at Sherman Green. This is the first time the town is doing it, but it's an event that's been going on worldwide for 15 years. And Judy brought it to my attention. Her church did one last year in Southport.
Yes.
But we want to make it a town-wide event. We have approval from Parks and Rec to use Sherman Green. And we're working on coming up with, it's going to be a short program, but a program of speakers and I've been collecting shoes. I think I've talked in the past about how we want to have a pair of shoes representing each either person who has died or been injured in the town.
Or folks who have died.
Yes.
Outside
Who
of
are from.
brothers who have died.
Yes.
In other places
But came from Fairfield originally.
Yeah. I did talk to Natalie Wagner.
Oh, you did?
And she said absolutely will be there.
And remind me of her.
Her mom she was working in Stamford, and she was crossing the street and was killed about 3 years ago.
Okay. Yes.
So, she was in Stamford, okay.
They live in Fairfield.
They live in Fairfield,
yes.
And she's interested in coming.
Absolutely.
That's wonderful.
I saw her right after we talked, and
great.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you for doing that. So Judy's been talking to Alita, who Scott knows, because I know he attends the Greenfield Church, about getting the word out to the different faith leaders in town. Mm-hmm. And we want to have some there to have a moment of silence and perhaps a prayer. And I actually am friends with Rabbi Evan Schultz, he plays a lot of music at their synagogue, and he's going to do a song about loss and hope. And we're hoping that either a survivor of traffic violence or a loved one who lost someone to traffic violence would be willing to speak about their experience. Mike Paris is going to, either he or someone from the Fairfield Police Department is going to speak about what it's like to be a first responder showing up to these events time and time again. And we're going to end the event, and I hope that you all will be able to come. And I would love to, the weekend before, have a shoe painting party. We can do it at my house in the driveway, and, just buy some spray paint. Judy and I talked about the people we've lost painting their shoes white, which they do like for ghost bikes and that kind of thing. And then the people who've been hurt, painting their shoes red. And displaying them on Sherman Green.
How many people will be represented there? Do you have
I don't have a final tally yet. Yeah. It'll be, was it 40 in total? We
were doing it, for the years we were doing it, was like 2020 to now.
Yeah.
So in a year.
Yeah, and then three pedestrians died in Fairfield in 2020. and, you know, a myriad of folks were injured. And then, yes, I hope, I've asked Alita to ask the clergy if any of their parishioners have lost loved ones in traffic crashes. So Fairfielders who've lost loved ones in traffic crashes, so they will be noted.
Yes, and we are also going to do cyclists, because when you look up the Yukon crash data, you can look up injuries to humans by whether they were walking or riding their bike. So we will have cyclists there too. Which fortunately there have not been any fatalities, but there have been plenty of injuries
this year
in Fairfield. Yes, this year. But so we're going to end the event, which will be about an hour, with two things. We're going to do a memorial walk to the Mill Plain Road exit where Christine McMahon was killed last November.
It's the entrance.
The entrance, I'm sorry, the northbound ramp. Where she was killed trying to cross the street with her friend. And I'm going to talk about this when I talk about my meeting with Brenda on September 8th. But we're also going to, probably before we go on the walk, announce to the group that we are going to be, the town is going to be working towards putting pedestrian amenities at that ramp, finally. Because Mike Paris told me that she was actually the second person to die there.
Oh, no.
That's just awful.
And I tried to find out who the first person was, and it might have been a long time ago because I couldn't find anything when I Googled it. So I don't know, but she was the second person, and Brenda was pretty outraged by that. So we're going to work with engineering to get pedestrian amenities there finally, in honor of...
Is that a DOT area, though?
It is. So I guess how it works is that Bill will come up with like suggestions on what to do and bring them to DOT to get approval for installation.
That'd be a great place to have the traffic flashers that he was talking about.
Yeah.
The button flashing.
That would be great.
Yeah. They have those in Bridgeport.
Yeah.
I don't know, near Steel Point in the entrance.
So that's it. Actually, I know, Mike, are you still there? Mike?
Uh-oh.
Mike, are you still on the line?
Yes, can you hear me?
Oh, yes. Okay, great. I wanted to ask you, I know in the past you've done like media alerts and press releases for events. Would you be interested, available to help out with that with the World Day of Remembrance?
Sure. Do you have anything written up about that kind of recap some of the things you just went over there?
Absolutely.
Sure. I want to make sure I'm capturing the right wording.
Absolutely. Yeah, we'll have an offline conversation about that, and I'll give you all the information. But I just wanted to see if you would be interested in doing that part. So.
Sure, absolutely.
And Karen, are you willing to work with Mike Paris on securing the police detail for the walk?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, we just have to kind of figure out, I think, probably timing and then what they, what they would think of.
Yeah, and I'm sure we can all help with that, but I know you have a good relationship with them.
Well, actually, most of the guys I worked with are no longer there, but.
Oh, okay.
Like the one who used to come to our meetings. I think he's retired as well. But, no, I absolutely can.
And the good news is we have plenty of time, but we just have to get the ball rolling.
For a second.
And I would like to start promoting it next, early to mid-October, that we're going to be doing this event on our social media and, get a media alert out. I talked to Jackie Bartoloni in Brenda's office. She's happy to help cross-promote it. The police are happy to cross-promote it. So, and the faith leaders are going to cross-promote it. So hopefully we'll get the word out. Great. So thank you. So we're going to move on to safety tips messaging. Scott, do you have any updates or comments to share about the great work you've been doing with that document?
Sure. First of all, can you hear me?
Yes.
Excellent. Good evening, everybody. How's everybody doing? Nice to hear the conversations. And, just a few updates. We did talk about this, looking at my notes back in June at our meeting, June 17th. So I think, since then, or maybe even a little bit before then, I think some positive momentum. Number one, we all know we've got a town master plan, bike ped master plan. I'm not sure if that's the complete streets policy or if it's a biking and pedestrian master plan, but we did take from that these safety tips. So those were kind of, hidden towards the back of the plan. Nate and I took a look at those, and we enhanced those. We, edited and modified, kind of begged, borrowed, and from other, tips we saw that we found by Googling. I think Karen had mentioned that we might want to get the police department to review. We did. So Mike Parrish reviewed it. He made one important change, and then we had those published, as we all know, not just on our website, which is great that Bruce took care of for us, but also had them published in our First Selectmen's newsletter for, I think I counted 5 consecutive newsletters. So starting July 2nd, so pretty much, early summer, all the way through just before Labor Day, every newsletter that Brenda sent out, they were in there now, albeit they were towards the end. For those who had time to read towards the end, but they are in there, which is good news. I've not seen them since the 27th, so I don't know if there was an expectation by anybody to just had them during the summer months with the understanding that people are out more often in the summer months, which, could be understandable, but I think that they might want to be kept in there. There's no reason why they can't be. There's enough space. So just FYI, we might want to kind of think about that and discuss that here, whether we should contact that department and see if we can encourage them to be in there going forward. So they're on the First Selectmen's newsletter. They're on our public website. Safety messaging. So I think we've got a Facebook page now, Sarah, that I don't know if they're on that page, but I know we did some kind of promotion about safety. So kind of maybe Karen, you and I communicated about that, and we talked about a Share the Road, which I've heard a couple of times here on the call, Share the Road imaging. So maybe I could throw it back to you for a second before kind of wrapping up here. What are we doing with regards to safety tips, if anything, on our Facebook page, and or what else did we do in that realm?
Well, the health department posted safety tips for all those dates that I mentioned, in which she boosted them. So we ran for the last 5 weeks. We did something each week, something different. And then what Santina said is that most of the time when the health department posts something, the police department will share it. They'll do a story on it or something. So trying to get as much, information out there. And we did one about, we tried to do something when the kids started school that was sort of, relevant to the kids doing that. And I don't know, there were so many now, I can't even remember which direction we did them. But I tried to find a good sign for each one, Share the Road, and imaging and some, words. Yeah, I was pulling things right off the, internet.
And I'm sorry, that was posted, health department, newsletter?
Their Facebook page. Their Instagram,
okay.
Facebook, yeah.
Okay, for the health department.
Correct. And then usually we would share the story as well, and so did the police department.
I think you're doing a great job. Unfortunately, my non-scientific study has shown almost no improvement in pedestrians. And when I bike, like tonight, I drove down here past 2 pedestrians with their backs to the traffic. It's just
that's fine. I think we're all seeing a lot of people walking the wrong side of the road. Very few, unfortunately, riding their bikes on the wrong side of the road. But I think it's a matter of time, and I think the more we keep at it with messaging, I think that ultimately more and more people will start, realizing that it's against the law to walk on the wrong side. I'm sure there's exceptions around bends that might be dangerous, but I think we need to your point, though, Laura, I think it's important for us to keep at it. And I think I shared this with a group that I saw or learned that the town of Weston sent out their safety tips with their real estate tax bill earlier this year. I think that's a great idea.
I agree.
I think we might want to, kind of percolate that to whomever at town hall to say, listen, a neighboring town is doing this. Obviously, they feel it has merit to bring it to that level of attention. And, Laura, to your point, I think I've never seen more people walking the wrong side of the road since COVID. And I think Nate would probably concur because he's out on the road on a bike like I am, quite often. And Bruce, maybe, have seen them too. Yep. So, yes, I think it's a matter of just repeated and consistent messaging in either the newsletters and or the Facebook posting, and even signage. So when I think of messaging, I think of signage also. And I was interested in what I heard. I wasn't sure I understood, but the share the road signage. I naively, I think that has a lot of merit, but maybe there's some confusion because there's a lot of different types of signage that is out there, biking and pedestrian safety. But I think that we might want to think our committee as perhaps arriving at one type of signage that we feel has most value, and trying to find a way to maybe have those signs up in as many places as we deem to be appropriate and accepted by the town going forward. So those are my thoughts.
And keep looking for new ways. I don't know if you can get, I don't know if you can hear me through this, if you can get the police more involved. I'm just thinking every now and then if the cops, when they're not really busy, just stop and tell pedestrians they're on the wrong side of the road. When I'm biking and I approach a pedestrian walking in front of me, I yell, "On your left." It's sort of courtesy because I'm afraid they're going to kind of move over in front of me with a dog or whatever, but it's also like reminds them that they're on the wrong side of the road. I don't say they're on the wrong side of the road because every time they do, they turn around and say, "So what?" or something like that. But on your left is at least something to get them thinking, because they can't hear me.
Yeah. Anya, did you have a question?
Is any of this education happening in schools?
We have tried. It's hard. You got to get approval to get, with the Board of Ed and get them to agree to do that as part of their thing. They've got so much going on their criteria. It's really hard to get that way.
Because I was thinking, I was walking the left side of the road. I thought, because I've learned that that's like the safer way to do it. You should face traffic.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I think
that's right.
What you're saying supposed to be the other way.
No, she's saying when she's biking.
When I'm biking, and I'm biking on the
So you bike
right
on
side
the,
of
you bike
the
on
road,
the right side.
and I've got pedestrians in front of me walking on the wrong side of the road.
Wait, which one's the wrong?
They're walking the same
They're
way
walking
she is.
against.
They should never be
They're walking with traffic.
They should be walking opposite traffic.
Yeah.
Correct.
I got confused when you
So
were talking
they
about
got their
the other
backs to me.
Yes.
And so I yell, "On your left," because they can't see me or hear me.
Yeah, got it, okay.
So, I'm trying to.
But that's a good point. I think. I mean, not to point anybody out there, but that's we don't all know this, and that's just that means there needs to be more education. So a lot of people are naively walking, with traffic, whereas they're supposed to be by law walking against traffic, because the reason for that, of course, is they can see oncoming traffic and get out of the way. So,
Scott, Karen brought up asking the Board of Realtors if they would print,
having the conversation.
have a conversation with them, because I know Laura brought up in the past that when the committee that did the recycling flyer in the tax bill, they had to pay for that themselves, that Brenda wouldn't pay for it. So I love that Board of Realtors idea. We could also see if Santita has any public health money they could put towards it. I also would love to see us eventually, and we could talk to Santina, someone, do short little videos that we could post online, because we're in an age where people, they don't want to read, they want to watch. And so if we could do, a little 1 minute walking against traffic video, 30 seconds, this is what this road sign means, this is what this road sign means, this is why we give cyclists 3 feet. It could be, it's not anything we're going to do today, but it's something to put on, to discuss in the future. And I'm wondering if next month we want to have on our agenda, set aside time to discuss signage, because we keep talking around it about like the share the road signs and what we really ought to be supporting. So maybe we have a discussion.
Yeah, well, that's a great idea. If you'd like, I guess my name's associated with safety tips here. So that's fine. I'll be happy to, kind of get a feeling for what are the signs we have in town, and I'll bring them to the committee's attention, and we'll talk them through, and maybe I'll find some of the signs we don't have in town that we might want to consider as well. So that's a great idea to kind of use, a few minutes of our agenda to kind of see what is on the roads, and then see if we can come to some agreement.
Great. Thank you, Scott. So that'll be a deliverable for our next meeting. Is you'll do some homework around signage, and we'll put that on the agenda. Karen, I'm gonna, in the interest of moving along, because we have a bunch more to cover. Karen, you did the update for Santina.
Mhm.
So, are you okay with us skipping over that? Okay. So town commission and committee minutes assignments. So you're all going to have to give me a little bit of history because I'm new to this, and I know some of it has shifted with the pandemic, but I know, like, in the past, Karen, you attended Sustainable and Forestry.
I am a liaison to the Forestry Committee and now Sustainable Task Force.
So I don't know how many committees we are liaison to and how many. I think there's definitely some ones that we need, like where our missions align, we certainly want to do that, but I also want to be respectful of people's times because we all work, we're all busy, we all are oversubscribed. So an idea that was brought up in some of the conversations I had with folks is, and I want to just throw it out there, rather than having to attend other committee or departments meetings, can we take on responsibility of reading the minutes of another group's meeting and then reporting back if there is something relevant to our mission.
I mean, I totally understand. I will say, as much as it is sometimes hard to find the time for these meetings, it is so interesting what I'm learning in these. I really do enjoy what I'm doing, what I'm hearing about, and how it can affect what we're doing in town and our committee. So I would recommend it, even if you just do one and just try it out a couple of times. There's a lot to learn.
By all means, if someone wants to go, that's great. But I'm thinking if we want to try to stay in the loop, but also be respectful of other people's times, it would be an option. I'm thinking like the zoning and planning. I don't know. We get sent their agendas. There's other, and we could, for the next time, we can make a list of ones that folks might be interested in learning about what's going on. But maybe we learn it through the agendas and minutes. You look like you want to say something, Nate.
Yep.
No, okay.
We can all attend any meeting we want.
Absolutely.
I sign into planning and zoning on and off because there are things that affect us because they decide on new development where there are going to be sidewalks and bike racks and things like that. But this assignment of people to other committees is a relatively new thing.
Okay.
The bike ped.
Oh, okay.
We haven't been even doing it a year.
Okay.
Almost a year.
Almost a year.
Yeah.
Okay.
So just understand it's really hasn't worked itself through.
Sure.
And there are certainly some other commissions that are much more relevant
Yeah, I mean,
to us than
Forestry and
others.
Sustainable are very relevant.
Sure.
As is
And planning,
TPZ.
yeah, exactly. But there are some others that wouldn't, the Golf
Yeah.
Commission, we don't really need to go to that.
That's
Oh, yeah, of course, yeah.
But, I think we could kind of table this for now. You could think more about it and reach out to people individually,
Okay.
because we got time constraints here.
Yeah, so if there's, a department in town or a committee in town or commission that you're, like the police commission, I mean, they're doing stuff that's impacting what we're trying to do all the time. So
Somebody at least should check the agendas.
yeah,
It doesn't mean you actually have to listen into the meetings.
yeah.
Because the police commission in particular really sticks to their agenda. So does TPZ.
And I also, I would like to have guest speakers come from different departments or commissions from time to time, so they can update the whole. And I understand I missed August, but there were a lot of questions about remind me, Laura, who
Emmeline? No.
No, there were some questions about how a certain department's work overlaps with what we're trying to do, and so if we could bring,
I'm thinking
Emmeline or
Emmeline
somebody-
Harrigan in the
Mark Barnhart, bring some guests in to talk, just briefly, and we could ask questions if we have any. So we can table that for now, but I just wanted to put a thought out there, just because I have heard, from folks, and I'm in the same boat as well. We're all busy, so if there's ways that we can stay informed but not overburden ourselves, I'm all for it. Okay, so Nate, I am so excited Nate's gonna talk about, an idea he's had for,
A long time.
for a new bike route. It's been a while. I'll just give it over to you.
It has, unfortunately, people who are here can see, I brought printouts. We'll have to share, I'm not sure how we can share it digitally.
And Bruce, I can send you this, Bruce, for the.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure, I can send you a hyperlink to it as well, because it's just a
Great.
Strava route.
Okay, that would be helpful.
So the concept is, and I spoke with Sarah about this, Karen and I worked on this a couple years ago as well, that we want to sort of maybe go a little bit bigger in town and utilize parts of our town that don't have any existing bike routes now. And actually, what's interesting, I was just looking through our bicycle and pedestrian master plan from 2013, and a number of these roads are actually already on that original plan, with some modifications for, in my mind, safety to make it a little bit better. And it doesn't utilize any state highways, which the original master plan did. So it's pretty bold. It's 18 miles, and it encompasses a significant portion of existing routes. But there's probably north of 10 miles that are all new roads that we haven't sort of delved into in the past. So I don't have a whole lot else to say. I want to sort of get everyone's feedback on it, and then maybe we can circle back next month and see what people think and whether or not we should pursue next steps with the town.
I mean, Nate, just because I know we've talked about this a lot, I mean, if we don't continue to put new bike routes forward, we're not, it takes 6 months at a minimum to get them, vetted out, brought to the police commission, to get anywhere. So I think we need to move forward with something. And if, there's never going to be a perfect route on many of our streets, because we know that. But the idea of bringing it to the police department and submitting it to them is that they go out then and they drive the route, some of them bike the route. They will see and make recommendations for changes before we can even bring it to the commission. So I feel like we need to make that next step. We need to move forward. We haven't done one now in 2 years. Yeah. So it's time.
Yeah. Thank you, Nate. This is, I think it's time. It's such a great, amenities like this are needed in this part of town, and it's a way for us to get, publicity about trying to make improvements and trying to make amenities for the people who enjoy biking. It makes for great, I have a marketing background, something, it makes for great press releases, it makes for great press, it makes for great promotion of what we're trying to do to be pushing these things forward. So. And
even if they only say, you know what, we don't agree with the whole thing, but we like a portion of it, great, we've made a first step. I mean,
that's right. That's right.
Okay.
Can I, this is Scott, can I ask a question about that?
Of course.
Awesome, cool. So, I mean, maybe excuse my naivete, because I'm still kind of green to the group here. It's been about my third meeting. What's the purpose of a bike route? I mean, am I to think that it's going to be earmarked as that, and therefore it's going to slow down traffic with signage, or is it we hope that people will get in the car and get and park somewhere and get out and put their bike on the road and ride that route by itself, or what? Just help me out if you wouldn't mind, and maybe some others might benefit from it as well. What is the kind of the mission and purpose and benefit of a bike route? Because I know that we've got 3 in town here, and I really don't know. So, and I'm a biker, so I really don't know
the idea is it's that someone who maybe isn't a biker per se and goes out for a long ride, but someone who's with a family knows that they have an area which is designated as a bike route, and therefore they're going to feel safer on that bike route, especially those 3 that we have in town, which have signage. They have sharrows on the road. They're, some of these, like, you wouldn't be able to mark this entire route because it's so extensive.
Right.
But it does go into, that it is an established bike route. So if someone were to go onto the town site and look at what the bike routes were, this would still be identified as such if it were approved.
Well, and I think the idea of signage, even if it's not sharrows, but there's signage on the route, again, it's that signal to motorists that they should expect bikes on these roads. And then it's sort of a two-way street, no pun intended, that maybe cyclists then start to use these roads more because they feel maybe just a slight bit safer because they're on these roads that are designated as routes. And so it leaves other roads that may be less safe and more dangerous for the cars to drive faster, and the bikes can then drive on these roads. And Scott, I'll send you the link. These are all roads that you've ridden 100 times, so it's not anything.
I took a pic and texted it.
Okay, yeah, good. So,
And if I could quickly add, remember that all of these routes have been approved by the police commission, which means they felt they were safe enough for cyclists. And I want to give you an example. On the next door site, there was somebody who was new to town and wondered where she could bike, and I sent her a link to our bike routes, and she thanked me. So, this is the kind of thing that these are useful for.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. And I actually, as a runner, I've run this route before, and I'd love to have a place I could go to find routes like this where I know that there's some it's been vetted or it's got some sense of safety. Wow.
I just had a question, like, what's going to make this a bike route? What kind of signage are you aiming for?
Well, I mean, that's pretty far down the process, but the signage would be bike route, the green bike route signs with arrows pointing the direction that the road would go.
Like the one that's on the road, or?
Probably not, because the cost on that is probably cost prohibitive. We can buy, 20 or so signs for a couple $1,000s, but to paint those Charos, to do them effectively, they need to be every 500 feet or so, and when you do a 16-mile route, it's a lot of paint, and at $100 per Charo, it gets to be prohibitively expensive.
Is it something they can piggyback on if they're planning to restripe the road and they're going to be going out there with paint anyway?
That would be a question for
Bill.
engineering.
I think it's still an added cost.
Yeah.
Okay.
I would say no, probably, but again, and the concept is go big, go bold, and see what happens.
Go big or home.
Exactly.
Do you change any other signs on the road? Like, so, I just moved from Portland, Oregon,
I'm supposed
so
to
like
be meeting Tim for dinner after this.
There, there's little
trying to-
stop signs on them, so cars have to stop before
Done
crossing
in
the
3
bike route.
Generally, no.
You don't?
Well,
Generally, no.
try not to go over.
Yeah, we try to utilize
By much. I told him we won't be early.
No, Nate, this is great, and I think it's great to be doing another bike route. We'll talk another time. I'm so excited to see Bill's doing. There's over by Grasmere. There's going to be actual bike lanes. That's so wonderful. So that's I think one of the next steps that I'd like us to tackle. But thank you for this. And so what would be the next step? Because I wasn't here when we did bike routes before. For starting a conversation about this?
Well, I think we should, as a group, digest it and then potentially all vote on whether we want to continue pushing for it or modify it. If anyone goes out and uses it in the next month or so, if they see anything that's concerning, then we can modify it before we then go and start talking to the police about it.
Okay.
Because then you do a proposal to the
Right.
police, because I did the last one, you have to write up the whole thing and present it to them, so.
Okay, so over the next month, it's digest, and then maybe in October, discuss, vote, and great. Thank you, Nate. All right, so I'm trying to make it so that we don't go too over our 7:30. Quick recap with my meeting with Brenda. So I shared an email with the committee that this came about with, from time to time, people put things up on social media, Moms of Fairfield Facebook page, those kind of places, like I almost got hit by a car, or all these other things, and people start talking about traffic. And they bring up, speed bumps and enforcement and all these things, and I can't keep my mouth shut, so I chime in with, well, actually, speed bumps are an outdated technology, and they will often tag Brenda or the other town select people, trying to get them aware of these problems. And totally understandably, they don't want to have those conversations over social media. They want to have them over the phone, email, in person. And so I asked to meet with Brenda. We met on the 8th. Bill Pollock came with me. And just wanted to bring to her attention that, I think the public is asking for us to do better in terms of our road safety. And I had just been, elected as chair. She didn't know that, for the Bike and Ped Committee. And Bill sat in on the meeting, and Officer Pete Cazal, I'll get you the name, Bruce. He sat in on the meeting and just talked about how we can better work together to, when there's opportunities for, we have this wonderful Complete Streets policy. When there's going to be, some road work done, like, let's make sure that we do the bump outs where we can, and we do, traffic calming improvements and have a good dialogue. And Brenda seemed very supportive of that. And she was supportive of her staff sharing our messages over social media, which, by the way, our Instagram, we have tripled our followers, and we only had like 50, and now we have over 150.
No, way to go.
So I try to post something every day, or almost every day. So, and our Facebook's kind of, it's not as active. I post things there, but we don't have as much engagement. So anyway, that's my meeting with Brenda. I just really wanted to get in front of her to talk about, because she's understandably relies upon folks like Bill and others to work with us, but I really feel like she can help set the tone for the whole town in terms of her leadership and wanting to support safety, because she was quoted in that New York Times article touting the wonders of our Complete Streets policy. So I thought, well, let's...
Of what streets is it?
Complete Streets policy? I'll send it to you, Anya.
Okay.
Yeah. Which some of the folks who've been on the committee for a long time worked very hard to put together. And some who are no longer on the committee. So I just wanted to have a meeting with her to say, like, let's find ways that we can, your leadership can support us in our efforts. And she was, in general, supportive. Okay. So that's my meeting. And I already mentioned the thing about Mill Plain Road, so the highway ramp. I don't know if anyone has any questions, or I'll move along. Okay, we're moving along. Okay. So we have 2 openings on our committee right now.
I'm gonna scoot.
You're going to go, Judy? Okay, thanks for coming.
Thank you.
Bye, Judy. I'll talk to you soon. We have 2 openings, and Richard Saldano's on the phone, and Anya Mizak is here. They're both interested. They're considering joining the committee. I know that Richard has submitted his form of interest to the town. And Richard, would you like to take just a minute to say, you and I talked last week, but just introduce yourself to the committee and your interest in the committee?
Yes, of course. Thank you. And, good evening, everyone. As Sarah said, I'm Richard Soldano. I'm somewhat new to Fairfield. I guess I've heard someone call it a refugee from New York City. My wife and I had a baby in July of 2020 during COVID, and my wife and I were living in an apartment in Queens, and we really just wanted to have a green space, open space, and live in a home. And we found the town of Fairfield, and we moved here and we loved it, and we've been here since February. And walking around town and getting to know my neighbors, and going up and down Black Rock Turnpike, going down Post Road, I've just really been enjoying my time here. And I just thought about ways I can get involved in the town, because prior I was involved in the community board in Queens, and I'm on a couple of committees for my work. And I just saw the Bicycle and Pedestrian Committee as a really good avenue that I could, lend my skills to, because I'm also, for work, I'm a personal injury attorney. I do, plaintiffs, personal injury, medical malpractice, and a big part of my work is, fortunately, pedestrian knockdowns, bicycle crashes, and I see it a lot. And so I have some knowledge of, what goes on, and I'm hoping that, I can bring suggestions of what we can do, and I'm also hoping to use my skills as an attorney to, benefit the group.
Thank you, Richard. Yeah, I think it would be great to have someone with a knowledge of the law on the committee, because there's opportunities in the future for us to, like with the new pedestrian law, I mean, there's ways we could get involved in supporting things like that, and he can read those things and understand way better than I can. So thank you, Richard. And you've already submitted your form, right?
Yes, that's correct.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
Thank you. And Anya Mizak is here. I'll let you introduce yourself if you want to quickly tell us who you are, where you're from.
Sure. I lived in Fairfield as a kid from when I was like 8 to 18, and I left and came back this summer after being all over the place. Most recently, I was in Portland, Oregon for 3.5 years, in the Bay Area before that, and I've always been a really avid bike commuter, just like biking around town. And in Portland, I only took the car on weekend trips. I did everything else on a bicycle. You know, I have one of those bikes that can fit a bunch of kids in back instead of my husband. And we're hoping to bring some of that to Fairfield. I've noticed I've counted 3, I think, family bikes now. I just moved to the Stratfield area, not far from Sarah. So I've just kind of been watching. So I've noticed at least 3 families have those bikes in the area.
Cool.
It's not, it won't be the first, so that was encouraging. But yeah, I want to see kind of what I can bring from what I've learned from like a super bike-friendly place. And, you know, I'm trying to have realistic expectations for the pace of change. But if I can even move the needle towards making it safer to bike, that would be really amazing. I'm also going to visit, just put it out there, I'm also visiting the Sustainability Task Force. I'm also really interested in that. So I want to sit in on next month's meeting and take a seat. I just want to figure out like kind of where I can have the biggest impact, basically.
And by the way, Karen lives in Stratfield Village too.
Oh, you do too? Okay, cool.
I'm in Stratfield area.
And Laura, I'm sorry. I know.
There must be a connection. The most like sidewalk-filled area, one of the most sidewalk-filled areas in Fairfield.
Yeah.
It's sitting at the table now. Well, I'm surprised they don't have people from the beach area, because there's sidewalks there too, theoretically.
We have in the past.
Yeah.
We have, they've stepped
We're in
down.
a state of flux right now.
Yeah, okay.
So here's the interesting thing. Thank you both for taking the time to come to the meeting. Right now, we have 2 open spaces, but the town has their regulations about political affiliations and how many of each we can have on the committee. And right now, you can have up to 5 of each. And so
out of a total of 8, right, or something?
But the U's count as what?
They don't matter. We could have all U's, is my understanding. But the U's are neutral.
You could have no more than 5.
No more than 5 Republican registered, no more than 5 Democrat.
That's what I mean.
How big can the committee be?
9.
Okay, that's the question.
So right now, there are 4 registered Democrats on the committee, so we can bring on 1 more. And all the interested parties, Laura Granstedt couldn't come tonight. She was going to come last week. She's also very interested in joining the committee. And hopefully she can come. So for now, we can bring on 1. As Anya's still considering, I decided, and I think it would be awesome to have an attorney on board, that I asked Richard if he could start pursuing the application, and he's doing that. And we will need to wait until either someone who's not a registered Democrat or another space opens up before we can bring on anybody else who's showing interest right now. And I know, Laura, your second term is up soon.
No, my term's not up. I'm going to leave.
Oh.
I've got another year, but
Oh, okay.
But I've been on here for 8 years, and I'm just wanting a change.
Oh, I thought your term was up, but.
Nope.
Sure. Is it 2022? So
I believe that's correct.
Okay. So anyway, so once and Bruce, I know that you are looking to step down sometime this winter, and that will free us up, unless, and if somebody expresses interest and feels they're a good fit for the committee who is not a registered Democrat, we can certainly bring them on before that. But for now,
you're limited.
Now we're not limited, but we can bring Richard on for now. So is my point. And I think, why don't we, it's after 7:30, so why don't we table the passions and goals document for the next meeting? Because I don't want to keep you here any longer. I know we all have things we want to do. But,
I'm meeting somebody for dinner.
so I need a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn by Nate. Second.
By Nate. Bruce, second it.
Bruce, second.
You can just say-
All in favor?
You can just say unless there's an objection.
Unless there's an objection.
Objection, the meeting is adjourned.
All right, unless there is an objection,
Okay.
the meeting is adjourned.
No objection. So adjourn at 7:39. All right.
All right, thank you all.
Thank you.
Turn off
Thank
the
you.
recording.